What's going on, sports fans? The sports reporter with Al Pay in the building one more time for another hot take. So if you are a friend on my Facebook or you're in a group that I've posted these videos in before, you probably saw the hot takes I did. I did two hot takes within hours of the Lakers acquiring Anthony Davis. One hot take was, did they give up too much? I said no. I'm still standing by that. You have LeBron James, an all-time great player. You have the opportunity on the downside of his prime to pair him with a guy who most consider a top 5 to 10 player, right? He's easily a top 5 talent. He just hasn't had the team success to put him in that upper echelon, right? So the talent is there. You have the opportunity to pair him with Anthony Davis. You do it. And they were able to keep Kyle Kuzma, who most thought was the most untouchable player on the Lakers roster. They were able to keep him. So for me, I believe that in itself is a formidable big three. If Kyle Kuzma is your third best player, you're not doing bad, right? The next question was, and I did a separate hot take on, what's next or who's next. It was, who are the Lakers going to go after? And if you watched my hot take, I was huge. I kept throwing one name out. I kept talking about Patrick Beverley, right? I thought he was perfect. He's a point guard who doesn't really need the ball in his hands to be effective. He played next to James Harden, where James Harden was playing point. You know, on the depth chart, you got Patrick Beverley listed, but James Harden is running your offense. But now he goes out every night and he guards the Steph Currys, he guards the Dame Lillards, the Russell Westbrooks, the Kyrie Irvings. You have a guy who can now go out and guard those guys. And on offense, it doesn't really change anything. And he's a knockdown shooter, close to 40%. So I thought he would have been perfect. I thought J.J. Redick would have been a great person to go after for the Lakers to round out that. I think those two in the backcourt with the other three would have been a great starting five. The problem is this. I was going to wait until free agency was done, but here we are. It's Wednesday. We are now close to 72 hours into free agency, and the only move that the Los Angeles Lakers have made has been signing Jared Dudley and Troy Daniels. Jared Dudley, Troy Daniels. What are we doing? What are we doing? I know what they're doing. My issue is, and I said in the hot take about going after Patrick Beverley and J.J. Redick and some other guys I'm going to name here shortly, is I wouldn't even waste my time if I'm L.A. going after what I call the K free agent class. All these great players, names that you had: Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Kawhi, Klay Thompson, Kemba Walker, Chris Middleton. Don't go after none of those guys, because if you do that, now you have LeBron James contract, AD's contract, and then you're going to go out for one other max player, right? And then you're going to have to fill the rest of your roster out with mid-level exceptions, right? Role players who just, with Jared Dudley's and Troy Daniels type players, right? If I'm the Lakers, I would have took that $32 million in cap space as soon as free agency started. You get on the phone with Pat Beverley and J.J. Redick. But now what's happened is the Lakers have put all their eggs in one basket. It's all about Kawhi Leonard, right? They put the full court press on, and he's apparently narrowed his choices down to LA, or Toronto, right? But if he doesn't come, right? If Kawhi Leonard doesn't come to the Lakers, what they have now done is allow free agency to pass them by. Al Horford has been signed, meaning he could have been had. Enes Kanter signed, he could have been had. Rodney Hood signed, he could have been had. Wes Matthews signed. I just knew Malcolm Brogdon was going to stay in Milwaukee. He wound up going to Indiana. Now, I think that was a sign and trade. Lakers didn't have no assets for that, but he was there to be had. Seth Curry, Austin Rivers, guys who just showed this past playoffs they can play at an extremely high level when it matters, right? You're not talking about guys that you need to go out to lead the team. Guys are going to be stars. You need guys around LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Kuzma can run offense with the second unit in stretches. He can be a first option kind of guy for 5 to 10 minute stretches in the game. What else do you really need? You need very good role players, right? Danny Green is still available. Terrence Ross done signed. Derrick Rose is signed. Jonas Valanciunas has signed. Who else am I missing? It's a lot of guys that were there to be had. Harrison Barnes, I think, would have wanted too much. Tobias Harris signed. I think he would have wanted too much for what I think he would have brought to L.A. Brook Lopez went back to Milwaukee. He would have been a good sign. A lot of players that were available that L.A. could have went after. And they've now let all these guys sign to somewhere, right? And now when you really look, another huge one named Boban Bogdanović. Oh, my God. I think he's Utah. Very good player, kind of flew under the radar playing over there in Indiana. People don't even know like that unless you're an NBA League Pass, real, super like hardcore fan. You don't even know about Boban Bogdanovic. Guy's a baller. You know what I mean? So they allowed all the mid-tier guys, because the big names are all gone except Kawhi. Kyrie and KD signed in Brooklyn. Chris Middleton stayed in Milwaukee. Clay staying in Golden State. Kemba went to Boston. All the big, even the next thing is right below the big names, like Tobias Harris signed back in Philly. Jimmy Butler's going to Miami. So now what? Julius Randle was one of those right below the top tier guys. He signed in New York. So now what's left for LA? Even the guys that like solid veteran role players, they let Taj Gibson, he signed somewhere else. Like, what's left for LA now? Besides Danny Green. Danny Green is the only player that I look at that's left, and I go, that's a guy you can bring into a contender, and he's going to be a difference maker, right? Jared Dudley and Troy Daniels. That's what the LA Lakers roster is right now. Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Kyle Kuzma, Jared Dudley, and Troy Daniels. It's all based on we want Kawhi. But now what do you do if you don't get Kawhi? Again, everybody's gone now. Danny Green is left. That's pretty much it. Nobody else is left. Lakers going to wind up, if Kawhi Leonard does not sign to LA Lakers, they will have made the cardinal mistake of putting all their eggs in the basket of a top tier guy when they could have filled out the roster with a lot of really good players. They could have went and got 3 or 4 solid guys. Like, for what they trying to pay Kawhi or what he's going to demand salary-wise, they could have got Boban, Patrick Beverly, and they could have got all 3 of them. JJ Redick or Danny Green, who's apparently, from what I'm reading, he's waiting on Kawhi's decision. Al Farouk Amino, a 3-and-D guy, not really, he hit or miss on the 3, but a solid defender. Give you 20 minutes a night, just solid playing, right? Again, I already said Taj Gibson, Al Horford, like got Jonas Valanciunas, guys who could have came in and bought something to the team at not such a steep price, and you'd have had a solid roster filled out. We've already seen what LeBron James is capable of with a bunch of nobodies. We saw him take a roster. We saw what he did in 2007. We saw what he did in 2018, I think it was, right? He don't need a whole lot. He got AD now and Kyle Kuzma. You bring in some other solid guys like JJ Redick is a solid player. Pat Beverly's a solid player. Bogdanovic. All those guys who've signed, solid players that could have been had for the low. And now if Kawhi doesn't come, what are the Lakers going to look like next season? I don't understand what we're doing over there.